All right, so as I said last video, the periodic table has this electron configuration info in a very easy to read fashion once you learn how to read it. So let's go ahead and draw a little diagram of a periodic table. Right, there's the basic shape of a periodic table, and it's split into different zones based on these orbitals. So over here, these first two columns, and a bit of an exception, helium as well. So you can kind of think of as helium being right here instead. This is what's known as the S block. It's known as the S block because these are where the S orbitals are at. Over here, in this zone right here, is known as the P block because this is where you're going to start filling P orbitals. This center area right here is what's known as the D block because this is where you're going to fill D orbitals. And a little tricky here, just one rule you got to memorize. We'll touch on this later, but this is n-1. We'll touch on what that means later. And then finally down here, in these two columns, you have what's known as the F block because this is where we're going to start filling F orbitals. And another little tricky thing you got to know is this is n-2. So remember, n is your principal quantum number, and basically as we go down the periodic table, n increases. So n is just which row you're in. So if you're in the first row, you're talking about n equals 1. If you're in the second row, you're talking about n equals 2. If you're in the third row, you're talking about n equals 3, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the periodic table like a book. So when you read a book, you read from left to right, and you read line by line. So you're going to go through the first row from left to right, and then once you finish that, you're going to go to the second row, and so on and so forth. Here's basically the same picture we just drew above, just from your book. So you can tell, right, we've got this kind of S block over here, P block over here, D block over here, and then F block down there. And then you can tell they increase by n, right? So here you have 1s, so you're talking about n equals 1. Here's 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. You can see that these follow along. The P block does. So 2, 2, right? 3, 3. You can see it kind of switches up in this D block. You have 4s here, but then here you're only talking about 3d. We'll touch on that later on. And so while you have that diagram right there, you really want to just be able to look at a plain periodic table, something like this, and envision the above diagram, right? Think about where's your S block, where's your P block, where's your D block, where's your F block, what are your N's, that kind of thing. So we'll start electron filling in this next video.